Good morning, future officers. Welcome back once again to Toppers Academy Morung Express newspaper analysis for the 18th of February 2026 as well as for the 19th of February 2026. I hope you all are doing well and preparing with consistency and determination. Today we'll be covering our news analysis for the past 2 days since some of the viewers have uploaded 18th February's newspaper which was missing from my records. So I'm thankful to the person. So I'll be covering 18th February first. After that, we'll be covering the 19th February. And as we move deeper into February, your preparation should now be more structured and answer oriented. So this newspaper reading must translate into better writing skills. While analyzing today's news, focus on three important aspects, that is issue identification, administrative relevance, as well as exam application. So what exactly is the core issue? No? Avoid getting distracted by unnecessary details. And also in this administrative relevance, you should ask how would you handle this issue if you are a district officer or a policymaker, like I always say. And the exam application, you should look into those topics where you can use it for your GS paper 1 and GS paper 2, as well for your essay paper and all, as well as for your NSSB examinations. So pay close attention to the policy implementation challenges, the state level governance matters, the developmental projects and their socio-economic impacts, public grievances and institutional responses. So remember, in the examination, the clarity and the structure matters more than the complex languages that you'll be using. So even if you use the simple language, but you should be able to answer in a very structured manner and with clarity. So practice writing short, crisp notes from today's analysis. Discipline today will build confidence tomorrow. So let us now begin the detailed discussion one after the other. So starting off with the first article of the day, that is lighting the last mile, a voluntary solar mission brings hope to Pounyiu. Why Aboriginal Energy's Rupees 5 lakh solar initiative became a lesson of humility, trust, and rural electrification. So this you can use as an example while you're writing an essay or while you're writing your descriptive answers, okay? And we will look into the context of this very news article so that you can extract some of the important points from there and you can use it in the coming days in your exams. So in a region where darkness has long dictated the rhythm of life after sunset, a quiet transformation unfolded in the Pounyiu village on the Indo-Myanmar border. So this Pounyiu village is in the Indo-Myanmar border where the residents, they do not have access to proper electricity connections. See, the reason also being one of the factor that the Indo-Naka political issue is still unresolved, and that many villages of the Nagas or Naka inhabited areas in Myanmar Takado, Myanmar government private developmental works na sai itulah area de, and then the Indian government private itu area itu tahanla jurisdiction hoy. Okay, so this is the area of the Naga self-administered area where Myanmar side private, Indian side private help na pai. So yate thakando olop tukra thaki ase. Okay. So for its residents, light arrived not through grids or government tenders, but through the conviction carried by a small renewable energy team that believed access to electricity is not a privilege but a basic human needs. Now you can take this very particular phrase, write it down in your notebook, and you can use it while writing your essays. Okay, so these lines are quite attractive to the examiners as well. See, the access to electricity is not a privilege but a basic human need. Okay, just like the food, just like um, food and rice also. Okay, where we say that it should not be just a welfare scheme make that whole like one like to ration kan chawl kan but will be right space whole like in alana. So you can use that words, okay, that will make it your answer more attractive. What began as a voluntary mission soon became a lesson of humility and human connections for Aboriginal energy. So itu organization na naam to Aboriginal energy as they to naam to who are taking that voluntary initiative to go and light this remote villages. So the solar lighting initiative in the remote Naga village was not about megawatts generated, but about the dignity restored. So what is dignity restored here? This means that children no longer need torches to study. So which means rati was usually light night to torch light ekta kiniwo battery halikina to cholai gina listen study kuro iniga na pachan big kitchen stay glowing after task and elderly villagers moving safely along illuminated paths. Ama kan pi puri ama kan pi sob kitchen de kam kore rati de palrabi ni tiki na kuri chola wo chui chola ina cook kurwo ina kam kore and then tiri tak pi pu na paro ina aro pura puri kan pi rati te iman anti rati pera woli bi no safety concern bi thake jai. So ita do street lights pi hali dishe core tv lights lagai dishe students kan study kule jaga tv light lagai dishe ita do man tahan bi khushi ekta. Okay, of course this is not the end, this is just a starting, we have a long way to go. So will be no chutu ekta spark rakhi thili bi tadi bar start kuri na tahan bi pal phalo la khola chawo. That is something that we all believe in. A mission beyond business. Amen la au the team lead at Aboriginal Energy told the Morung Express the company's guiding principle has always been to deliver sustainable energy to the last mile. Now, this is also something related to the International Solar Alliance. If you can connect these very particular phrases, it will be very helpful for your upcoming examination because actually sustainable energy karne focus pishi chahiye. So if you can prepare an essay on the sustainable energy, I'm sure that you are going to make use of this very particular essay. Direct na issue will be keep like that use kurli olawo. It rainy ponai rakibi, it will be very good. Alright. While the firm has undertaken similar rural projects earlier, the Pounyiu initiative was unique in both geography and intent. Of course, it was quite unique and in both geography and intent. Why they're saying this is because geographically it's quite challenging. Okay, to cross the India's border. Now India la within the one borders can they come rural areas come that is another thing. But it's also a quite unique border that we have. Now India Myanmar share Kurina Takala border. Right? There the geographical uniqueness is there. There's a uniqueness this intent because normally ki hoy projects can ahado government side prado that is another thing, but when we look at the private sector la tala main motive to ki hoy profit motive hoy. Only here we can see that it is purely with an intent to restore the dignity of the people in this area and for the welfare of these people. So we always wanted to go beyond borders outside. When we learned that a group of like-minded people we're planning a mission trip under the Love Burma mission. If the Love Burma mission connect us, that Nakas in the Burma or Myanmar area can help kan patay tage. We approached them and requested to join. That is how we landed in Pounyiu. The installation, carried out purely on a voluntary basis, was supported through the crowdfunding and company contributions. With a total investment of approximately rupees 5 lakhs, Aboriginal Energy has also designated 2026 as the year of missions, signaling a strategic shift towards purpose-driven intervention alongside the commercial operations. Of course, their work is not just for the welfare lagai club, no ita purpose. Ekta private, ekta company, ekta run kurgarne do. Of course, there is a need for profit motive as well. So that will come under commercial operations. But here, what they did was a purpose-driven work in this Myanmar boundary area. Lighting homes, schools, and Badway. In total, the team transported 90 solar home lighting kits, where 10 solar street lights were there. Okay, and 0.55 kilowatts of solar power system with battery backup and inverter to Pounyiu village. So the home system ranged from 7 watts to 40 watts, while each street light had a capacity of 80 watts. Following the consultation with the village elder, so this is the administrative part that you should keep in mind. Ito part to na. When you become an officer, government ba schemes kan ki pass ko policies it will be implementation is the main thing, and implementation to as an administrator awuni itu sabulas that is your responsibility. Okay, so that government la hati kiman workforce tagi shukuli bi pusti laga nolibi tatila manula help nulagina do itu complete role to kase kam do. So it's always this coordination and cooperation that is very much needed that we can learn from here as well. Okay, ipar mo purina ko dibo. Following the consultations with the village elders, the company conducted a house-to-house survey supported by the local youth volunteers to identify the genuine beneficiaries. Homes that already had functional solar system were excluded. So most of the home lighting kits went to elderly and vulnerable families. Ao said we also ensured that the boys and the girls hostel run by Love Burma Mission were properly lit, especially the study halls to support night learning. Additional units were installed in church guest houses and kitchen areas, while solar streetlights were placed in the school campus, local grounds, church premises, and other frequently used community spaces. See, when we could go through this line, it might seem that it is unnecessary as a purinavi na mo ito to answer no kita use ko answer de or no MCQ tin naibo inya pa will be see kwan is na your preparation of becoming an administrator does not start from administrative training institute alone. Your preparation starts in this journey itself. So this is how we can put uh, the problems, we can put the solutions as per the priority wise na. So here we can also learn clearly that kutuke first priority ti lage kutuke for the time being at whole rakhi taki lage na. So genuine needs can he kini address ko lage itu mo anya tira administrative perspective right the understanding bias. So that is the reason why we say to read newspaper daily is very important, not only to collect information but to build up our uh, reasoning as well. So build for durability, design for context. The project used a hybrid mix of indigenous and locally adapted technology, with most products designed and manufactured by Aboriginal Energy itself. Batteries carry a 2 to 3 year product warranty, while the solar panels are expected to function for the next 10 to 15 years. Terrain, weather, and connectivity pose inherent challenges. So see, this is the part of the challenges. Okay, kwan is na problems, solutions, or initiatives, then policies and implementations, and then challenges, right? Way forward. So these are the things that we should consider every time when we write an answer or read a certain article, and also the background story, of course, if we are following a continuous news. So here challenges exercise of terrain, weather, and connectivity pose inherent challenges. The hilly landscape increased transportation cost, while fewer sunshine hours in the northeast required larger battery backups and additional panel to ensure reliability. Impact felt at task. So the most immediate changes according to the team was in education. Students no longer needed torches to study at night. Seeing them learning under proper lighting was deeply rewarding. For women, illuminated kitchens eased evening chores after long days in the field. For the elderly, better lighting improved mobility, safety, and dignity inside your homes. Pathways lit, pathways lit after dark allowed villagers of all ages to move freely. A small change with a profound psychological impact. Community ownership at the core. Now this is also very interesting. Okay, আমি কান একবার implementation de চাইছে কলি তো মোকান তো হই infrastructure to set up করিব হলে বি ইটো maintenance থাকা নাই বলি ইটো within the next few months really years to ইটো it will end. So sustainability la কথা না থাকা যায়. So in order to make sure that sustainable হ'ব আৰু ইটো তাৰ আমরা কি ফিল কৰিছো মৰম পৰা চলাব কলি তো itu kun la ase tahan ki ownership ti shuli to nichor la ase de gona tam bi to feeling bra care bra chola ho to. Okay, so itu karne tahan ki hoise community ownership ti she to community ownership at core, where the village council and the local youths were involved from planning to execution. 6 youth volunteers received basic operations and maintenance training, enabling them to handle minor troubleshooting and ensure sustainability. Lessons from the border. Crowdfunding fell short of expectations, but the team pressed on. Logistics, accommodation, and material transport were facilitated by the village community and mission team, easing the execution in an unfamiliar and remote location. One lesson from the Pounyiu is that human connection is just as important as project execution. Trust and shared ownership determine long-term impact. It was a very insightful and interesting article itself. Okay, so I've also learned a lot while going through this very article. And I hope you also have learned something or the other that you can use it in the case to come once you become an officer or even as a mere citizen of this very country. Nagaland, a new chapter begin for Chokre language with launch of dedicated institute. In a significant step towards the promotion and academic advancement of the Chokre language in Pek district, the Institute of Chokre Literature was formally launched at the conference hall of the Red Cross Building, Kohima on February 17, established as an initiative of the Chokre Chakisang Literature Board. The institute will focus on developing, preserving, and promoting the Chokre dialect, including the creation of a textbook and other resources. The milestone achieved just days before the observance of International Mother Language Day. This is the first homework for your day, that is International Mother Language. When, okay, when and team. Ito likit today. You all are doing a very good job, okay? I'm very happy and I'm also learning from you, and also the viewers are also learning from you. So keep the very good work, and some of you are consistently answering each and every single day, and itu answer kura to manu karni answer kura se serba hotia karni answer kura se kwan hoi na abune be learn hoi se, that is something that is beneficial. So aji ekta learn kro, twitter learn kro, in this every day Twitter question really learn kurli in this 365 days. Just imagine how much you will be learning. Okay, 700 plus apunan ai jao ini nutun information ekta. So every day should be a learning process. ANADG 2015 page meeting with a school education advisor ends inconclusively. I won't be focusing on this very particular news, okay, since I'll be covering two Tesla newspaper. Only one jania se ki chulia se the ANADG staged a protest, which later on went on to the extent of a hunger strike. Will be with the assurance from the government saying that the measures will be taken up with seriousness. Tagan ito hunger strike to at hold raking na protest to continue kurase. Holibi tagan arik the meeting kurise to meeting kuram de tagan to discussion kurado favorable outcome huanai aro from the school education advisor la side prabi itu tagan la tet takan ki mangi thagi se itu tiwo paranai. Okay, that the meeting was concluded without any proper outcome. Okay, and say that they will stage the sit-in protest, or say the sit-in protest will continue. This is also a very important one from the GS perspective, GS1, or say MCQ perspective. Okay, descriptive to nahe will be any MCQ karne ahi thage our own Rani Gaidinliu laga regarding topics kan. ZWAT commemorates 33rd death anniversary of Rani Gaidinliu. The Zhelengrong Welfare Association of Delhi on February 17th commemorated the 33rd death anniversary of Rani Gaidinliu, recalling her contribution as a freedom fighter and spiritual political leader of the Zhelengrong community. So Zhelengrong community is kun thage bolido don yat rakhyo de MCQ important ase Zemi, Liangmai, Rongmei and Inpoi. Zhelengrong de do itu charta thaigo within the constitutional framework of India na to alak jaga de bi thaigo Myanmar side bi thaigo bare be within the territory of India do Zemi, Liangmai, Rongmei aro Inpoi ase. Now born on the 26th of January, that is Republic Day 1915 at Nongkhao or Longkhao as it yado village in the present-day Tamenglong district of Manipur, Gaidinliu joined the freedom movement at the age of 13 under the guidance of her cousin Haipu Chatunang. So Haipu Chatunang is also a very important topic for your MCQ type of a question. Okay, descriptive to Naiwo Tajun Lavi. You don't have to worry about that, but for your MCQ it keeps on repeating. Alright, following the Chatunang's execution by the British in 1931, she assumed leadership of the Heraka movement, which opposed the colonial policies including taxation and forced labor. So I think the father of this Heraka movement to Chatunang Hugo, Haipong Chatunang himself, right? So this Heraka movement also examined the Ahitake. While advocating the preservation of the indigenous faith and identity, the Zhelengrong Welfare Association Delhi noted. In March 1932, her followers confronted the British forces in what is referred do as the Hangram attack. Okay, after months in hiding, including the caves of Mount Kisha in present day of Nagaland. So Mount Kisha to kudia sekpar sabi. Hey, I think it should be in Beren. Okay, I'm not very sure. Ekpar saina comment section likhi TV. Where, which district I should say, which district. Okay, that it will be very helpful. And those who are from this area, then okay, if you're from this area, and it will be very much easier for you to reply na. Tomorrow pray to reply for the day. Even me, I would like to learn from you. Maybe man sure na do kutia se. I've heard about Mount Kisa, but is it same as this Mount Kisha or not? That I'm not as certain of. Okay, she was arrested on October 17, 1932 at Poilwa. So to Poilwa to Chanina to sheep farm Takai area was a famous place. Yet to Abunan Chanu Lagatu, you should remember this date. Okay, her imprisonment, her Taike arrest Kola date Huti Take exam today. To this October 17, 1932 day, Taike arrest Croce Poilwa and sentenced to life imprisonment at a very young age of 17. So she spent 14 years in the prison before she was being released in 1947 following India's independence, and the country's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru conferred upon the title Rani. So this is a question that was asked at least 2 to 3 times in exam, if not more than that. Okay, so Rani Gaidinliu ke Rani title kun pra tishe kule do Jawaharlal Nehru pra tishe. I think Shillong te chale takam de ena lokram de tina taiko. ZWAD stated that after independence, Gaidinliu continued to work for the social and political unity of the Zhelengrong community within the constitutional framework of India. So the association further noted that she was conferred the Tamra Patra, to be important award paisina. Tamra Patra Freedom Fighter Award in 1972. This is one thing that you should remember. Tamra Patra Freedom Fighter Award in 1972 and Padma Bhushan in 1982. So in Nagaland, only 2 people got Padma Bhushan. Okay, and she's the first one, Padma Bhushan in 1982 to Taibaje. Second to I think Dr. S.C. Chamir Award. The year I cannot remember. Please write in the comment section if you really, if you know, then we would really like to learn. Okay, so maybe into to Pauri Jashi, I have to revise on that one as well. So Padma Bhushan do the first to Rani Gaidinliu by 1982 day. Second Padma Bhushan do क्या पाइसे Dr. S.C. Chamir. So this Padma Bhushan do I think Dr. S.C. Chamir do heli to tai 2020 la pala ho Padma Bhushan. Okay, and 1982 do Rani Gaidinliu. So this is one. There's one more important thing that I would like to add here as a homework to all of you, that since some of you means you will say kunwa to films pt na ya say viewers can, as except for those who are fresh and those who have not studied the history yet. But I would like to ask one more question, that is Rani Gaidinliu is also Rani Gaidinliu is also associated with one of the mass movement in India. Okay, during the freedom struggle. Mass movement in India during the freedom struggle that was called on by I think Gandhiji himself. Alright, so it to key mass movement the Rani Gaidinliu lead corner participate kurise in comment section de likhi dibi de. It will be something new for many people as well. We'll come back to this one later. Alright, nothing to explain here. Kilya said yeah. Apo Mehta attends AFI Executive Council meeting in Port Blair. It is khali important to do ki Athletic Federation of India la Vice President ekta ase. Vice President I think there's 2, 3, 4 more. So Apo Mehta bhi ekta ase Athletic Federation of India la Vice President do. Now from N2 village to the world stage, Kolungshi Nyomai's stellar rise in kickboxing. So Kolungshi Nyomai, son of late Huma Nyomai and Naro Nyomai from N2 village from the Perin district Nagaland, is steadily carving a name for himself in the world of martial arts. So recently Kolungshi represented India at the 5th India Open International Kickboxing Cup hosted by WOKA India in New Delhi from February 4 to 8, 2026. And then apart from kickboxing, iklan in a taekwondo, she is also a black belt, a second degree black belt in the ITF taekwondo, and also he is also the current state champion. He is also versatile. His versatile all DT also extend to other combat sports such as he is a silver medalist in the Wushu Santa State Championship. In addition, he represented Nagaland University, the All India University Games 2025 in Bengaluru in the sports of the Pencak Silat, showcasing his all-round martial art excellence at the national university level. Yeah, we'll do the MCQ. Itu tu abuna nijo purlu paper. What was the average population per bank office in Nagaland as on 31st of March 2025 as per the recent NAPARD paper? I've covered this very news I think 2 days ago. Exam dia unang ke numbers kan problem share ki bi kuji itu important hoga na. Osa ladbi yeti ai na se. So the answer is 9076. All right. Number 2, which one of the following profession is not covered under PM Vishwakarma scheme? Itu lagado I requested you all to answer on this one, and some of you have answered in the comment section very well. And which is topics that we are discussing, it is also important for the examination point of view. So no wonder how the Morung Express also came up with these MCQs that we were focusing a lot on. So apunan already likhina ase comment section do purina thaiko answer do chan thaiko. I'll leave it to yourself, okay? So apunan nijo answer korlubi. Itu be puram de moi focus kor lekta koise. Diplocentrum papilosum is a newly discovered species of orchids na. Itu do Kerala de. Kerala state in the Western Ghats. When is the World Radio Day observed annually? World Radio Day observed annually. I think it's 13 Feb. Okay, 13 February ho answer do. To abunian theme likhi dibi theme. So abunian video saina jam de abunian question kan paisi udido mo ko anisina notebook te likhi rakhibi question do in your na after your video is over you can comment or pause your video and you can comment, okay? Nali to abunian miss out ho jao bishi. Which country is hosting the 2026 Winter Olympics? I think it should be Italy. All right, Italy hobo. Italy should be your answer. It is also called this Milano Cortina 2026 games, okay? It was 2026 the Winter Olympics be Italy. So with that I would like to end this 18th February here and move on to your 19th February. High Court flags rejection of the hospital claims. Supreme Court affirms Nagaland's MPPS policy. So we are talking here about 3 topics, okay? We'll be talking about 3 topics. This, and this. NHIDCL pledges pothole free on 7 NH2 locations. Okay, in a series of a recent ruling, the Guwahati High Court bench has flagged the rejection and pendency of significant health insurance claims of hospital. So the National Highways Authority, they have promised to make the Rastangan Tikko Diogala to be in the Chardivi. It was says over 3,000 hospitals claims rejected. On the 11th February, a division bench of the Kohima bench of the Guwahati High Court was informed that over 3,154 hospital claims had been rejected by the Generali Central India Insurance Co. Limited. Remember this very well. Likhina rakhibi. Itu ekdam news ti ase ajekali. Generali Central India Insurance Corporation Limited, formerly tala purana nam Future Generali India Insurance Company Limited as they. While 2,226 bills remained pending, the company had served as the implementing agency for the Chief Minister Health Insurance Scheme as well as for the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. That is the health insurance scheme. Okay, I forgot this very name. Yes, Ayushman Bharat. Okay, Ayushman Bharat ajalo. So in Nagaland until March 2025. So important as day itu question hutiyo pare. Taking serious note of the large scale rejection and pendency of the claims, the bench observed that such a state of affairs cannot be allowed to continue unchecked and directed the insurer to furnish reasons for rejected and pending claims within a week, failing which its official could be summoned for personal appearance. When the matter taken up again on February 18, counsel for the insurer sought permission to file its affidavit in soft copy via the email, stating that it ran into 3,280 pages and detailed the claims cleared during the entire year of 2025. According to the Division Bench of Justice, Pradvira Chaudhry Saikia and Yaranjungla Longkomer permitted the insurer company to submit its affidavit electronically. So the court has earlier called for such records on January 28. Both issues are expected to be taken up on March 18 when when the court continues hearing the public interest litigation concerning the withdrawal of the services such as Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana and Chief Minister Health Insurance Scheme by the impaneled private hospitals in Nagaland over non-payment of dues in 2025. So key was that this very particular agency was responsible or say tagan bra itu laga contract to lina thaisi ki Chief Minister Health Insurance Scheme or Ayushman Bharat la under de kiman the insurance claim aibo itu tagan generally Central India Co Insurance Corporation kan bra sabo gusido. So that tagan government kan bra bi take hit poisa kan to tia se itu settlement karne. Will be ki there are certain cases where bills are being pending without being cleared itu bra hospital kan bra ita to Ayushman Bharat or Chief Minister Health Insurance Scheme to accept no kura ho jaise under this one because the bill tik time na phara. Okay. Itu bra court pra ida thaige report mangya se ki le thia nai nole tina thagi chulwi tula details kan mangya se. So this is something. Okay, so it is a very big concern that tuk thaka manu kan hi tulaga programs or schemes kan to avail kore to takan to ita to itula chamela ola chesi to private hospitals kan to ita to Ayushman Bharat la card no lo jaise Chief Minister Health Insurance Scheme la kilo tam poisa thik time na bhavra. Okay, another news is there. MPPS quota dispute. Those who have been following the news, it last year Ekbar News Team 1 cover courage day that it was regarding an NPPS quota. Ito military quota de lowo lage tai ulibi tai state quota laga avail kurle try kura like ta de tai court case kura like ta se. So meanwhile, the bringing the legal finality to the issue of the MPPS seats allocation under the Nagaland government's pool quota. The Supreme Court on February 10 dismissed a special leave petition challenging the Guwahati High Court. So Guwahati High Court pa ruling dishe ki itu military karne quota luishu kuli do it cannot avail the quota of the state reservation pool. Okay, so ekta manu hi tuita jagate tan benefit kro na paro, so ta itu avail korish kuli do itu na paro ina type na. So a bench of Justice B.S. Narasimha and Justice Alok Arathe declined to interfere, stating that it was not inclined to interfere with the impunged judgment and orders. In the October 23 ruling, a division bench of the Guwahati High Court had upheld the state's September 1921 notification governing the central pool MPPS seats. The court held that the central pool operates through the distinct and non-interchangeable quotas, and since wards of defense personnel are covered under a separate quota administered by the Union Ministry of Defense. Okay, so itu military officer la pacha thakise. To takan to already military quota la under the cover ho jai itu tan state quota to claim kru na paro ina ko ase court pra khalo. And since wards of defense personnel are covered under a separate quota administered by the Union Ministry of Defense, they cannot claim eligibility under a state's deficient state quota meant to address the lack of medical infrastructure. So it further relied on the Union government clarification and held that the clause 1.2.4 of the Ministry of the Health and Family Welfare Guidelines does not permit army personnel to be treated as local residents for the deficient state quota. Okay, so army personnel la pachakan to ekta state la quota hisab te takan itu avail kro na paro ko ase. The court found the statement notification neither arbitrary nor violation of the Article 14 and sets aside the earlier single judge order dated on August 14, 2025, which quashed state's notification dated September 9, 2021. The case arose after a medical aspirant, a daughter of a serving army officer, posted in the 1 or 1st Nagaland Battalion NCC in Kohima, challenged the September 9, 2021 notification after she was denied admission under Nagaland's central pool of MPPS quota despite qualifying in NET UG. Nagaland government's teacher issue ultimatum over alleged salary anomaly. Itu tu mo ikut details noko Nagaland da daily issue ase itu tan ki tiadak pi salary tik ni tialaka issue ekta ase. Nagaland gets its first all-women PPO, a shared commitment to inclusive growth, says CM Rio. You can make use of this while you're writing your descriptive, okay? Or while you're writing your essay. Examples conditional use group provenance. Nagaland's first JSW woman-centric business process outsourcing. So BPO the full form is business process outsourcing. Okay. So Nagaland prapishi manu graduate hobo aro CDD jena BPO de काम करबो ina thaki chai. Ito right to Nagaland TV takan BPO ekta setup korise by the JSW woman-centric business. So this JSW is I think Jindal Steel something. Okay, I think it should be something related to Jindal. So itu Jindal laga bhi ita owner do ekta maki asna ki. Okay, I think she's from Assam. Savitri Jindal. Center was inaugurated at the Integrated Business Hub and Innovation Center Forest Colony in Dimapur, which is in Dimapur. Okay, they are to Integrated Business Hub and Innovation Center IPHIC in Forest Colony in Dimapur on February 18, marking a significant step towards digital employment and women's empowerment in the northeastern region. So this particular initiative is a collaborative effort between the Investment and Development Authority of Nagaland, ITAN, and the JSW Foundation under the JSW Shakti Initiative. The initiative aims, so to be the part the answer la. What is the aim of this very initiative? The initiative aims to create localized employment opportunities and promote economic independence for women above 18 years of age through structured training and IT-enabled services. Under this partnership formalized through a memorandum of understanding, the Dimapur Center will provide skill development and employment opportunities, particularly for underprivileged young girls in the state. So the center has initial capacity of approximately 125 seats with provisions for future expansion. It is expected to create a new ecosystem of digital employment in Nagaland. The facility will provide both voice and non-voice services, including banking support, data entry, insurance processing, KYC verification, e-commerce operations, and vernacular customer support. JSW Shakti centers are already operational in Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, and West Bengal. These ISO certified facilities have empowered over 4,500 women through training and long-term employment till date or to date. So that the BPO will initially employ around 125 people. So that is the initial stage. The 125 people initially employ grow, with plans to expand it up to 500 employees increase in the coming months. Conceptualized and completed within the 6 months, the project reflects strong collaboration between the government of Nagaland and the JSW. Pokso case, father arrested for allegedly assaulting minor in Morung. Nothing detail is given here. It's a very vague news here. Good detail nai. Itu kan tu no live iki. So don't waste your time reading it, okay? Pokso ek tehi ekta answer panabi, okay? 5 to 10 marks. 2 marks to be ek parina je, will be 5 to 10 prepare kuri so that no matter how key angle ra kina twist kuna will likhiu paro sabte, okay? It is important. I'll come back to this one later. So the once you become an officer, all this you should keep in mind. All right, I'll come back to that one. Chumukitima gears up for Sikrenye Kam Mini Hornbill Festival. Very simple question, okay? But it is Sikrenye Festival of which tribe of Nagaland last part day? Comment section. Very simple answer. Preparations for the Sikrenye Kam Mini Hornbill Festival 2026 gathered momentum following a coordination meeting held at the Deputy Commissioners Conference Hall in Chumukitima on the 18th of February. The meeting was chaired by the Deputy Commissioner Bolan John. Reviewed arrangement for the festival scheduled to be held on February 25 at the Sovima Village Council ground. Supreme Court to accord a final hearing on the pleas challenging the Places of Worship Act. Very important this also. The Supreme Court on Wednesday agreed to list for final hearing the pleas challenging the validity of the certain provisions of the 1991 law which prohibits filing of a lawsuit to reclaim a place of worship or seek a change in its character from what prevailed on August 15, 1947. So this 1991 April koise ki August 15, 1947 day kinya takishi as it is ho lage. Further than that, any development challenge no grow lage in a quasi. So which prohibits filing of a lawsuit to reclaim a place of worship. So if a place of worship was designated itu do kobi itu do Hindu laga say to worship to aro itu mantila nam itu ase. August 15 day 1947 day tai itu takishi ulido it cannot be changed. Okay, our challenge be grow na baro ki an hoi itu mona religion la ase mongan laga temple la ase in a claim ko na paro in a kuina ase will be we have seen some certain changes that was happening especially with this Ram Mandir issue be chuli thakise that we all know. A bench comprising of the Chief Justice Surya Khan and Justice Joyamalaya Bagche and Vipul M. Pancholi was urged by a senior advocate Rakesh Dwivedi appearing for the public interest litigation petitioner Ashwini Upadhyaya that the final hearing be accorded to the caution were framed way back on the 12th of October 2022. The senior lawyer said the center, which was asked to file its response to the plea by October 31st, 2022, is yet to submit its response. We will fix a date for the final hearing, the Chief Justice of India said, adding that there are two 9-judge bench matters already fixed in April and March. So, the 1991 to surprise the 1991 provision is an act to prohibit the conversion of any place of worship and to provide for the maintenance of the religious character of the any place of worship as it existed in August 15, 1947, and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. So the law had made only one exception, that is, on the dispute pertaining to the Ram Janambhumi and the Babri Masjid in Ayodhya. So itu laga regarding the tan finalize kuna kota kuro ko aise. These are just local news, so we won't be covering that. Okay, not very important. This we have to look into this one because we have a lot of bilateral trade and bilateral agreements and bilateral relationships that is going on. Takaichi, re-elected as Japan's leader, wants to cooperate with US in the rare earth development. So Takaichi, she was the prime minister, sitting prime minister. So once again, Japanese diet koina tana parliament anam to do tan election di jaise. Election huise to once again dahichi dishe. Okay. So Japanese Prime Minister Sanie Takaichi on Wednesday expressed hopes of deepening her relationship with the United States President Donald Trump. Sabi China ro Japan la relationship is not that good. Okay. So China and Japan, their relationship is not that healthy. So China do US project la kaise na USA bra. Ito Japan be tai logot coordinate and cooperation koromana se such that they can keep a check on China. Okay, ini guys our USA be China tik nai goli do tahan be Japan logot friends grow. Okay. So it is just like that. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Okay, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Takaichi at a news conference late Wednesday expressed hopes to strengthen cooperation with the US, especially in economic security, as tensions between Tokyo and Beijing have risen over the last few months. Takaichi, elected as the Japan's first female leader in October, was reappointed by the parliament as the prime minister earlier in the day and formed her second cabinet following a landslide election win last week. Prime Minister Modi and Bhutanese counterpart discussed solidifying the partnership in key sectors. Bhutan's Prime Minister Charing Tupke on Wednesday thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for India's support to the country's 13th five-year plan. Okay, so takan P 5-year plan chula si India dito ito 5-year plan nungan no chule. 5-year plan was the last that was also complete no hakete tan itu hatai dise. Well, we can see that in Bhutan now they are in the 13th five-year plan, as well as the Kelipu Mindfulness City project. Okay, Kelipu Mindfulness City project. This is in Bhutan. Both leaders also reviewed the progress in the bilateral cooperation in several key sectors, such as including energy, connectivity, development partnership, and people-to-people connect during their meeting held at the sidelines of the India AI Impact Summit in New Delhi. See, whenever there is a summit, whenever there is a major conference in a very particular country, tate khali tu laga even to attend kurina na chai leaders kan bilateral talks kan bhi thaki chai. Okay, so India de aigina India to AI Impact Summit de aishide. Holibi we can see that there is a lot of other discussions that is going on. That we can also see that 26th January day EU laga president kan aise hudbi tate khali to republic dating gona chanina tajuna machot India ro EU la machot bi trade ekta trade relations karne ek bar discuss kora kina outcome ekta aham honti kise. So as they reaffirmed their commitment to advance the cooperation in the priority areas of energy, connectivity and development partnership, the two leaders reviewed the progress in diverse areas of cooperation, building on the outcomes of the highly successful visit of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in to Bhutan in November 2025. So some of the major milestones in India-Bhutan energy partnership was the inauguration of the very important as a MCQ perspective Puna Changchu 2 Puna Changchu 2 hydropower project. Itu India or Bhutan milagina panase Puna Changchu 2 hydro project. So the basic framework of India-Bhutan relationship is the Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation that was signed in 1949 between the two countries, which was renewed once again in 2007, which the Minister of the External Affairs have stated before. The India and the Bhutan Agreement on the Trade, Commerce and Transit, which first signed in 1972 and revised most recently for the fifth time in 2016, establishes a free trade regime between the two countries. Okay, so we have a free trade regime with the Bhutan. So the agreement also provides for duty-free transit of the Bhutanese export to third countries. Bilateral trade is conducted in Indian rupees, which is at par with the Bhutanese ngultram. So Bhutanese kan la currency la namase ngultram. Our Bhutanese laga currency ngultram aro Indian rupees laga difference iman nai. Aro itu bilateral trade to lido Indian rupees te contact kore. Just like in the international market, when we have to trade in oil, we have to do that in terms of US dollars. Okay, US dollar laga hegemony not hegemony but monopoly that international trade in oil to US dollar by Korea say so since 2014 India's trade with Bhutan has increased more than 3 times from $484 million in 2014-15 to $1,777.44 million in 2024-25, accounting for over 80% of the Bhutan's overall trade. Very interestingly, 80% of overall Bhutan's trade is done with India. Throughout this period, so we can see how much important is India for Bhutan. So throughout this period, the balance of trade has consistently remained in India's favor. So this one homework Bhutan na quota ko this is your economics question. All right, from your GS. Who developed cross happiness index? Okay, so cross national happiness index. Okay, who developed it and India's rank as per the latest report. Latest report to 2025 हो पा 26 हो पा कुछ ऐसे तो सही सभी इन ना comment section में लिखी दी. So comment section is also becoming one of the mature learning space for all of us as well. So India's major export to Bhutan. So tan ki export import crisis ho de. India's major export to Bhutan to India or Bhutan di ki peka is ko de sau de. Petrol pata is diesel pata is rice, wood, charcoal, coke and semi coke. And what they have ferrous products obtained by direct reduction of iron ore, maize, soybean oil, smartphones, and iron or steel structures and parts, among others. So on the other hand, see, it's very interesting. Okay, India, okay, India do holi do manu lahat pra oil kine na oil kine aje bahar pra like Russia lahat pra kini wo US lahat pra kini wo na ina kura aje oil kine aje and India to oil to kini will be mohan pra aro export to kure ase Bhutan ke. Okay, this is very interesting. But you know what? The price of a petrol as well as diesel in Bhutan is around 60 Indian rupees. Okay, not Bhutanese currency, but 60 Indian rupees. Our diesel be almost same as 60, 61 majority as Indian rupees. Only India the size you in India petrol la tam do 96 70 as itu ki sabase na very interesting as do mogan bra pekai se manuge manu do itu bra paise India do 96 bra paise. Okay, quite interesting. In India everything is interesting these days. Salary they be tax, invest kurishi will be tax, fund te deposit koraki will be tax kati wo pas pamni capital gains tax, GST be tax. Aro ite do paisa bi online pra transaction kurbi korna mohan cash hatai dibo karne kiba niche UPI system ite UPI di bi apuni transaction koram di bi tax, ATM pra paisa lele bi katibo. Everywhere tax tadi income tax ahibo na sob tadi tax ase gari kinam di bi GST tax dibo kinibo GST tax plus road and transport kiba la dibo rasta la tax ekta dibo plus apni tutbut par gram di bi tax dibo rasta laga tax ase. So everywhere you have this tax. So you go to a restaurant, you eat, again there's also tax. Then you go and tell halishi that be tax. Okay, so sorry tax ase. Will be progress or development we can hardly see. Okay, we'll be leaving that aside. India is also growing a lot. Okay, becoming one of the largest economy in this world, and infrastructural development be tiktok bishi chai. So it is beyond our capacity to analyze what they are doing as of now in this very particular article. So it was a part corner chart TV. India's major export country to on the other hand, India's key imports from the Bhutan is ferrosilicon, electricity, dolomite chips, ferrosilicon magnets, Portland pozzolana cement, peoples and gravels. It was a beer made from malt and ordinary Portland cement. So this is something that we will be discussing. Okay, State Chief Secretary cracks whips on unauthorized leave. So this is the State Chief Secretary. His name is Senti Younger Imchen. The Nagaland Chief Secretary Senti Younger Imchen today pulled up senior officers for leaving station without formal permission, even as he directed departments to draw up concrete action plans for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and the Viksit Bharat Vision. Chairing the first meeting of the administrative heads of the department and the heads of the departments for 2026 at the Civil Secretariat in Kohima on February 18, Imchen expressed serious concern over the casual approach of several officers who have been proceeding on leave or leaving station without following due procedures. So tangmor officers kan pishi manu procedure follow nokrina leave petition file nokrina leave loigina jai kaya pujai. So itu tu unwarranted ase or this is not called for, and this is a very casual approach that we should take this under serious consideration. That is something that was discussed in this very meeting or update korea though. So according to a DIPR report, he made it very clear that the administrative heads of the departments must obtain a leave sanction from the chief secretary's office before they go on a leave station for before they leave their station, while the head of the departments are required to seek the permission from the respective administrative head of the department. On the developmental side, on the developmental front, the Chief Secretary reminded officers of the state's commitment to the Sustainable Development Goal targets and the Viksit Bharat mission. He stated that every department must chalk out clear strategy on how to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal target and contribute towards the Viksit Bharat mission and come up with the concrete proposals and action plans. However, the Chief Secretary expressed concern that despite the state's Vision 2030 document compiled with inputs from all the departments, only very few departments have actively pursued in implementing all this outlined in the Vision Plan for 2030. He reminded officers that Vision 2030 was prepared after thorough consultation and contribution from all departments, and therefore its goals must be taken seriously. So this was the some of the key directives that the Chief Secretary has given out to the AHODs and the HODs meeting leave protocol so meeting. So in this very particular meeting, it one outcome takise leave protocol de ki koise. So abunam bi ekজন officer hobo. So we should know these protocols as well. AHODs, that is the administrative head of departments, must obtain prior leave sanction from the chief secretary before leaving the station, and the head of the department must seek permission from the respective AHODs. Itu nisina apunian officer hushugli apunian leave lo karne officers kan ke bi consult kro lage likhio lage before you leave your station. All right. Workshop participation. Itu ekta ase. Attend only meetings and workshops directly relevant to departmental work. Avoid indiscriminate participation that disrupts routine administration. So seminars kan, program kan, meeting kan, workshops kan, sob attend kurina perai shugli do. Officers kan nijor administrative work de do time invest ko na paro, so that it might lead to slow progress and sometimes even failures as well. Itubra attend only those meetings and workshops that is directly relevant to their department's work. SDG and the Viksit Bharat roadmap. So prepare a clear department-specific strategies to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal target. That is one thing that he called for. Submit a concrete proposal and action plan aligned with the Vision 2030. Be ready for follow-up communications from the Chief Secretary's office. Vision 2030 implementation. Actively pursue and implement commitments outlined in the State Vision 2030 document. Administrative preparedness. Ensure that availability of the AHODs and HODs during the assembly and budget session for accurate response. Budget and governance focus. Prepare a concise, forward-looking input for governor and budget speeches. Emphasize new initiative rather than repeating the earlier achievements. Osase, nutun initiatives ki aniaze. Itu discuss kro lage, put forward kro lage, instead of just saying that mon itu saldi itu kurishe, pula di itu kurishe, itu like la kota nokri na what mon nutun ikta contribute kro paro, ki nutun ikta aniu paro. That is the thing that we should be doing. Account reconciliation. Timely reconciliation of accounts with the Accountant General Office. Keep account section properly informed and updated to prevent unnecessary escalations of issues. So with that being said, the news article for the very 2 days, that is 18th and 19th of February, that I cover crazy. So iman as news to. I'm gonna the mains can be pungjase to you just have less than 2 months also. Okay, February to little busy less days as we know that I think it's only 28 days. So time be nai it munti kina puribi study consistently to those who are preparing for prelims and the NSSB. Don't think that moila exam ita nai aram purwo inela mindset na thakibi. Aram pura de manudu no khomagina puras day, and your competition is going to be with them as well. So kun time invest kore outcome results pi tati hi ase. It's not about muy brilliant ase muy to ekonda purilibi manon toskonda purilibi iki ase. Not that mindset, that is not going to work. So the more time you can invest in your preparation, the outcome will also be according to that only. Okay. Ito bra time bisi phalbra manage ko try koribi focus koribi. As I think let me check your comment section. You all have commented very well and very good that you have put in your effort and your uh, work. Ongai Pom, yes, he has also answered very well to this very question. And then also Phoenix Vori 4037, you've also answered well. Zapen and Chuko, you're very consistent, give it up. Ongai Pom also is quite consistent. Answer for you is always on the news, he's always on the screen, so very good. And the rest of the viewers who have also viewed this video, those have shared the very newspaper in the Toppers Academy, moi lagi takan isna tise, very good, thank you. I'm on top la small chudu effort pra ek tak help korna very soon you all. I'm hoping that ajimo apunagi good morning officers ko anisina someday I'll see your faces in the newspaper and doing some very good work. And ajibi moi homework kuno dise, try not to miss out any of it and try to write it in the comment section. Moi important ho pra apunan kini share kurasi to one side bi korna to pra ekta bi miss to kuri. Of course in some news articles I think the comment section to be some answers were missing, but I'm hoping that from now and again are more active from one participate and we'll learn from each other. Okay, with that being said, keep answering and keep participating in this very news. I hope you're learning, and I'm also hoping that your friends are also learning from you. With that being said, I'll take a leave for the day regarding today's paper that is 20 February. Maybe I'll cover tomorrow morning or in the afternoon. Okay, so with that being said, I'll take a leave. Have a very good day. Thank you and bye bye.